Hey, what's happening, everyone? This is Midnight Brands coming to you on Prep Breath for May 2nd, 2023. Beautiful morning to everybody. Hopefully everybody had a great day yesterday, good start to the week, and is ready to get back at it here again today. A little bit of econ stuff coming up here this morning. Got 6:45 Eastern, 6:45 Central, 7:45 Eastern. Got some retail sales. And then big piece will be the Jolts job opening stuff here at 10 Eastern, 9 Central. So nice little bit of econ here. Indices have been kind of quiet. I mean, decent. If you're a pivots person, you're all watching, right? ES down to trend guide, back up to trend strength, back down to trend guide here again, and been pretty back and forth on that front. Going to go ahead and jump right in and get into SVXY and the rest of these. Got through all of the prep last night, this morning, and so hopefully we should be able to get through these here. Let me pull up one other screen here real quick just to see where things are currently at. So SVXY at the moment's at 69.02, so fell a little bit there from even from overnight and from where we closed yesterday at 69.80, but it doesn't have any big impact on the zones here. Just move around the photo ADRs a little bit, but nothing of significance. So starting off, we added this zone up here at the highs, which gives us monthly trend guide reversal, full ADRs. So if we start to move back up to this area here, which if indices continue kind of their push, we should see SVXY come back up here, which will put full ADRs back up with that monthly trend guide. And you have your tier 1 daily cheat just beneath there. Underneath, you've got your first auto zone, which is the trend guide reversal, weekly trend guide reversal. It's also yesterday's highs right in that block there too. Don't care about trend strength reference points right smack in the middle of the stuff there. There's not a good swing AV WAP or anything else connecting with it, so just ignoring it. Moving down below, you've got trend guide, quarterly trend guide, gap fill, and what was the last week's highs in that block there. So that's why it's 52-week high, because that was last week's 52-week high. Underneath, you start getting into some structure at that 68.50 level we've talked about. There's photo ADRs. There's also the tier 1 daily cheat right there. And right above that is actually a swing anchored VWAP from April 26th, as you can see, at 230. And then last on the list there, we expanded this div to include weekly pivot point, but it also includes your daily anchored VWAP, gap fill, and the weekly photo ADRs. Which seems odd that it's that close, but I mean, it was a pretty subdued week last week with the weekly photo ADRs being really small. It's only like $2 or something like that, so that ended up dropping down that weekly photo. Yeah, because you see weekly full is what, $3. Yeah. Anywho, gonna move on there. So VIX, moving over to it, is at 1656. So not really much of a change. It's floating a little bit above trend guide here for the day, but we'll get back to that here in a second. Starting off, first zone on the upside, big one will be the 20-day EMA, lower edge of supply and demand, week of April 21st highs, and then full ADRs. Full ADRs, depending upon if we keep this small gap, will float up a little bit towards the top edge of the zone. It might get a little bit outside. We'll just have to wait and see. But that's the first one. Underneath, you got your monthly pivot weekly, auto supply and demand, and there's also a gap fill there. You could extend it to grab the additional gap fill in the tier 1 daily cheat. It's up to you how you want to treat that. I did not draw it that way. And then moving down below, you get to your daily trend guide, which is what we're floating just above here, and a horizontal ray, which is that one that connects us back to kind of what some of the structure and stuff has been going back to December and whatnot. With that, I will note, one of the things I was looking at yesterday and you can argue if this is a valid ABCD here, but you know, it caught my eye with this kind of big spike we had over here in March. And so you've got kind of this big block here, and then this takes us all the way down to like that massive 1338, which was the February before COVID. So, I mean, that isn't a made up number. That was the one of those spike lows at that spot there. So again, so trend strength reference point is where I think I left off there. It's also a structural spot at that 1603-ish level. Below is trend guide reversal, but I don't know that I will care about this trend guide because you've got, it breaks lower still. So you could have drawn it a little bit lower to pick up that these wicks here, but then you're drawing it from, you know, 1560-ish level, 1570-ish level, down to the bottom edge of supply and demand in the tier 1 daily cheat. So yeah, I mean, you could do that and just treat it like that. That's definitely an option where you could do that one there. So anyhow, underneath you get to a small little zone. Probably ignore this, to be candid, and watch more for this block here, which is full ADRs, monthly trend guide, and weekly trend guide reversals. Up next is SPY. I'm going to start on the far upside there, and SPY at the moment is at 415.37. So yeah, bounced a little bit here earlier this morning when I was looking at it. So bounced a little bit off of its trend guide and is trying to float back up there. So we'll start up at the highs here. So you've got monthly and weekly trend guide reversals, gap fill. There's also a horizontal ray, which denotes some bigger structure kind of going back. You can see there, you know, this gets back into the September-ish areas. We'd probably draw this down. You could take this down just a hair to catch kind of where the bodies are versus just the wicks there. But in any event, that's full ADRs and stuff there. Down lower, you get to your daily trend guide reversal and a combo high volume node. Above it, we do have, you know, what you could look at as a potential div with photo ADRs in your tier 1 daily cheat. But really, if we break through that trend guide reversal and we take out this candle here, I think I would be just waiting and watching if I wasn't long already for this block up here. Under is your trend strength reference point. It is definitely in the middle of all of this stuff here, but it will need to clear that in order, obviously, to take out the trend guide reversal one. And like, we just barely poked above here yesterday and just sliced right through this supply and demand zone and everything else. So yeah, underneath trend guide, supply and demand low. You could have drawn it lower to also pick up this combo high volume node. I didn't do that, just didn't feel like it was necessary. There is some evidence there though, because you can see you've got this wick here, you've got this body and wicks over here at this spot. So it'd be one to watch out for. It's going to be marked on mine. You can see if you wanted to draw on yours, it's just above 414 flat on that one. Underneath the trend guide, we added this div before we get to this next level. We added this div, which is photo ADR, swing anchor VWAP in the tier 1 daily cheat. And that swing anchor VWAP comes from that to the tick touch of the 50-day EMA. This is also here not a typical ABCD where it's not a 50% retrace. I think it was almost the 61.8. It was pretty damn close to it from the March lows to April highs, and then actually April highs would have been back over here, so middle of April, and then that push there. So be interesting. Obviously we rejected yesterday off that 417 spot, so really we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But it is noted, I mean, that was a pretty big push off of this block here. Anywho, underneath you get your combo point of control, monthly and weekly pivots. Lower is your combo high volume node, structure, and full ADRs. And then we close out with another div, which is our 20-day EMA, combo high volume node, weekly lows, March highs, and tier 2 daily cheat. Yeah. Pretty straightforward on SPY. Qs. Moving in here, so we expanded this first one to include the full ADRs, was just monthly and weekly trend guide reversals. We added that in there to indicate that piece for full ADRs. Lower is supply and demand high, photo ADRs. Could have drawn this up a little bit to grab the tier 1 daily cheat. Just feels like way too often that the Qs shoot past that, so I'm going to have to go back and start keeping track of that and see how often do we blow past that particular spot. Excuse me. I don't know what it is in the mornings here lately. I know. It's because I keep waiting to have my coffee till after my morning walk. Alright, so trend guide reversal all by itself with yesterday's highs. Down lower, trend strength reference point, combo point of control, and last week's highs. There was a gap fill, closed that out, so that move ends up making this be drawn just a touch lower. 321.41. I'm not sure. I don't remember why that's there actually now. At this point, it should be at 321.51, as you can see here on the daily. So I must have accidentally clicked that and messed something up. In any event, trend guide right there would include that piece there. Added a div here for swing anchored VWAP, photo ADRs, and the tier 1 daily cheat. The Qs 322.33, so they're pretty damn close to where we closed yesterday. I really kind of bounced off of this, but if we do decide to come down and get folks excited and thinking that we're going to go bear again, well, then you got your photo ADRs, tier 1 daily cheat, swing VWAP there, like I just said. Excuse me, underneath, nice little cluster monthly weekly pivot, supply and demand high, and we expanded that to include the full ADRs. And then lower we added, if we do decide to really kind of pull, then you've got two possible other spots here. So you have a div-ish area with 20-day EMA, tier 2 daily cheat, really right in the middle of all of this stuff here. So just, you know, you can argue it's between two high volume nodes here, but the other big one would be the zone down here lower, which gets to your tier 3 daily cheat, supply and demand, monthly trend guide. Yeah, that would be an interesting one. It's definitely been some structure and stuff back through here, and you actually have this kind of big range gap here too, where we just faded and then popped the next day. I think that might even been it was the next day. So 312-ish up to 315. So really have to watch this. All right, ES has barely moved since I took this picture for something this morning. It has it popped up a little bit and then just kind of faded back down. So did come down and actually touch trend guide to the tick, and then pushed off of it for about 6 points, give or take. I'm going to start with the upside. I didn't note these here with comments, but I added these two upside zones here. So monthly trend guide reversal 2 and VPOC, and there's something else up there. I doubt that we get up this high, but I did note them. Underneath, you get to your weekly photo ADRs, naked VA, weekly trend guide reversal 2, and your tier 1 end of week cheat, obviously supply and demand high there as well. Did not note this. You could watch for a potential div here with the tier 2 daily cheat and supply and demand low. Did not treat it that way ourselves. Underneath, you get to full ADRs. I'm pretty sure that's still going to be full ADR zone unless we pull significantly lower here before the open. So yes, still full ADRs, and then you have your monthly and weekly trend guide reversals. There's an NV POC in there. There's a naked VA in there, and there's a gap fill. So really heavy zone with supply and demand high there. It's kind of why it's denoted as a royal flush zone, because there's so many pieces of evidence right in this cluster at that 34 to 30-ish level. Underneath, you get to trend guide reversal, 2 weeks ago's highs, supply and demand high, horizontal line, which I removed, which was just kind of denoting some structure in the past. Photo ADRs, so nice kind of good size zone there. Underneath, you get to trend strength reference point, a high volume node, the 5th of the high volume nodes, and last week's highs with supply and demand low. You also have a swing AV WAP from yesterday that held overnight around 3 a.m., 2 a.m. give or take, something like that. Looks like around 2 a.m., right around EU open, where we popped up into trend strength and tagged it and then faded back off. Underneath, we've got trend guide. I did move it just a touch in order to pick up the 4180-ish level, and really kind of need to hold that. Otherwise, like I don't know how much I'll really trust this swing anchor VWAP, supply and demand, photo ADRs, naked VA, like it's there. Really would rather see this lower zone here at 4150 versus this 4160-ish level. It's still there. It's still a good possibility. I mean, there is definitely some structure here. You can see it was last week's weekly IB stat high. We definitely danced around this area from a supply and demand perspective, so you just have to watch and see kind of where everything else is at in terms of breadth and stuff at the moment. But this would be definitely a bigger one, and maybe we spike down into here and get a nice good wick back, 10-point wick off of jolts or something like that. So come down and tag, say like the swing anchor view up there, maybe even the 20-day keeps moving and comes up further into that zone. It's already at the top edge of this div here now. So in any event, as I mentioned, so you've got this one here, monthly, weekly pivots, combo point of control, tier 1 daily cheat, supply and demand low, and our photo ADRs removed. So this is not actually a blue box, it's just be regular because it doesn't have ADRs anymore. But the spot down below does, and that one has our combo high volume node, 20-day EMA there with it. So it's really just 2 pieces of evidence with that div now, with things having moved around. There is a daily anchored VWAP though, 4140, 4135. So yeah, the daily anchor VWAP is in this area from April 26th. The swing one is up higher, but the daily one is down lower. Underneath that, we end up with another div there, which are at combo high volume node, supply and demand high, and we expanded it to include the tier 2 daily cheat. Underneath is our weekly photo ADRs, monthly and weekly trend guide, and I think I said this, but just in case, weekly photo ADR with supply and demand low and combo high volume node. So that would be giving up a ton, but it would also likely get a lot of people excited thinking that we're going to go back and tag this 4070-ish area. And this would be pretty massive because we'd be giving up this kind of hold here, higher low spot, and whatnot. So it'd be interesting. Excuse me. NQ. Had some issues with NQ here. I think I cleaned most of them up. NQ, so big zone on the upside. You get your monthly, weekly trend guide reversal, full ADRs. Also drag this up a bit, so we're tagging and including the NV POC right there at that 13,520-ish level, and naked VA there. The tier 2 daily cheat is just lower at the bottom edge of supply and demand, but Like, we're so close there. Why not just grab the full ADR? Like, if we're there. So that's a nice, good sized zone on that one. Underneath, we adjusted this, so we're including the trend guide reversal combo, high value area, photo ADRs, and cheat tier 1 day in this block here. So kind of combining this div and zone into one. Underneath, you get our trend strength, which we've been playing around with all night long. Combo point of control, April's highs, March's highs. So interesting in that block. And then underneath is trend guide, which also had the, looks like the overnight low. Yeah, top edge of that box has the overnight low in it. Actually, no, I take that back. It has yesterday's low at, shit, I can't see it. It says 1930. I thought it said 1130 for a second. Anywho, yes, so right there. So decent block. It just, I don't know, I'd probably second guess on this one here, and want to see it try to carve out and go lower, and maybe tag this photo ADR, tier 1 daily cheat, naked VA, swing anchored VWAP, supply demand, etc. Combo high volume node with this spot here. So otherwise, we go underneath, we get to a bigger spot with monthly and weekly pivots, combo high volume node, and tier 2 daily cheat, as well as supply demand low. And of course, underneath that, we end up with our 20-day EMA, low daily anchor VWAP. Yeah, really kind of a good size zone there on that one. And its daily anchor VWAP is right traveling at the same speed with it at this point from April 25th. So this really could be a big zone if we do decide to give up, 200-ish plus points and come down and attack this full ADR. That would be a really sick one there. Moving down lower, we added this div here, and I guess we actually dragged it down further after we added our note. So, because it doesn't include the high volume node there, but it does, it is meant to grab the tier 1 weekly cheat. So, messed that one up just a tad there. And you did add the zone down lower. This would be a massive give back. You're talking 350-ish points if we do something like this, but that would be massive. So weekly, monthly trend guides. There's naked VA in there. There is also an VPOC, and there's a combo high volume node in with that one. And I would put money on, if we do decide to come down there, well then the swing anchor VWAP from March 13th is going to come up and join the zone. I don't know that we'll get this. I have a feeling we're going to end up, more of a chop back and forth unless Jolts is a really big surprise. So it just kind of feels like it's going to be more of a chop back and forth until we have the FOMC stuff tomorrow. Okay, RTY. So you got your weekly trend guide, tier 3 daily cheat stuff there at the highs. Underneath that, you've got your daily anchor VWAP, combo high volume node. There's horizontal ray, which is denoting some structure at that 1808 level, and full ADRs move down into the next block, which has our 50-day EMA, our tier 2 daily cheat, and now not full but photo ADRs. And underneath is our trend guide reversals, supply and demand high, and now photo ADRs. These are definitely very, very close. This is going to be a tricky one here because they are so close there. You could have, I guess, taken and drawn this trend guide reversal up to included, but now you're creating almost a 10-point zone in RTY, and it is barely trading 30 points over the last several weeks. So it's kind of tough on this one. I think what you're going to have to do is watch, potentially even watch for a spot here against the Tier 1 Daily Cheat, Trend Guide Reversal, and then photo ADRs, full ADRs, combo high volume node stuff up higher with the gap fill, and NVPOC in there too, actually, from the looks of it. So, yeah. Underneath, trend strength reference point, 20-day daily and VWAP. So that is the look zone. You can see that over in the daily where they're pretty damn close to each other on that one there. And then moving down below, you get to trend guide and your tier 1 daily cheat on that spot there. There's also a daily anchor VWAP from April 27th and swing anchor VWAP on it as well. And we are obviously playing with it still overnight. It is still in that box and holding it. It has dipped down and tagged the tier 1 daily cheese, you can see. But underneath, even lower, we get into some bigger spots. So this is where we added the zone, supply demand low, both ADRs, combo high volume node, and naked VA. Otherwise, we have potentially the tier 3 daily cheats, tier 1 end of week, or at last week's weekly IV stat low. So big zone there. And then further down below, if we decide to take out that one, is our weekly photo, monthly trend guide reversal. YM, so over on the YM side, so you get your quarterly and weekly trend guide reversals. You also have weekly photo ADRs in there. And just underneath is some structure there at 34707. So obviously that's marked on the chart. You can watch and see what and how we do stuff there. You know, potentially we don't even get to that. Potentially if we do, decide to shoot up here today, like we get to this naked VA and reject there and then go back and grab that stuff, later in the week. In any event, moving down lower there, you get to your monthly and weekly trend guide reversals and full ADRs are right at the bottom edge of that box. We don't go any lower. There's also an NVPOC in there, and again, some structure at 34,551 level. You can see that's just from back here in February time frame. Go ahead and zoom in there for a little bit. Trend guide reversal, really just kind of by its lonesome. I mean, it does line up with yesterday's IV stat high. It's just there's not a lot of stuff in my mind on that one there. Trend strength is matched up with swing anchor VWAP and combo high volume node 4. Underneath lower, you get to your supply demand high, you get to an NVPOC and trend guide. Just a tad lower, there's a high volume node and a naked VA there, as well as last week's IV stat high. So could be, again, we keep trying to hold that one here now. We're presently trading 34,094. So it dipped down a little bit, but nothing of any major significance, and did manage to finally tag in the 6 o'clock hour here the trend guide. Anywho, moving lower, you get to our next zone, which is monthly and weekly pivots, swing anchored VWAP, are in our combo point of control, as well as the tier 1 daily cheat. So not much else on that. Further lower, though, we do get into our 20-day EMA and our photo, 20-day EMA, I should say, now full ADRs. There may be a daily anchor VWAP right here off of this one. But in any event, we're so close on this, like we're really close at that point to the weekly photos and your tier 2 daily cheat with high volume node, and of course lower we can see there's monthly and weekly trend guides, low daily anchor VWAP, and another combo high volume node with, I think, as I said, the swing anchor VWAP right there. CL. So CL right now is down to about 75.44. So it's poking up a little bit, came up into VWAP here, but it's just in the middle of stuff for us at this point. You do have trend strength reference point right there at the gap fill. but it's just so in the middle of everything we did not note it. Yes, there is a swing anchored VWAP there, gap fill like I said, but yeah, I don't want to touch that at this point. Lower we have structure and stuff here. You can see we played around with this whole area here. We're trying to hold this combo point of control and break out, you know, against this this trend guide. It's kind of a slope trend line. It's only got 2 touches, so it's kind of weak at the moment. But that's definitely a zone there. Underneath, you get this combo point of control. We keep holding along with weekly trend guide reversal. I think this might have been monthly or weekly last month there. But you've got that block in there, which is also the tier 1 daily cheat. Lower we have our ADRs, naked VA, tier 1 end of week. With the bigger block lower of gap fill, structure there at that 72.92, monthly trend guide reversal, like I said, and our tier 2 daily cheat. If we move above the first zone upside, it's pretty big. You got your 50-day EMA, combo high volume node, NV POC, gap fill, weekly pivot. It is a little bit wider because I wanted to adjust the zone above and pull in the 50-day EMA into this one, understanding and thinking about the fact that it's going to continue to fall. And so it should end up a little bit deeper into that zone. Above there, you got 20-day and your tier 1 daily cheat kind of by themselves, but I didn't include them together. I was treating this photo ADR, swing anchor VWAP, naked VA here as a spot. Full ADR is right there. I kind of expected it to fall a little bit further and come into that spot there. Looks like it might have. I don't remember what time I captured that one. Yeah, full ADR is now just at the inside of that line. Above there, naked VA, swing anchor VWAP from April 12th at 1300 and a monthly pivot. And then the last kind of div and evidence piece above is NV POC, gap fill, combo high volume node. Structure at the 79 spot, which had been this block back here, kind of where we tagged the lows and stuff on before continuing that push off that that one day. What else is the tier 2 daily cheat and weekly photo? Of course, we are super close at that point to weekly trend guide. You know, so maybe we do just blow through this and go grab that because it also has a gap fill in there with it and an NV POC right in there with it. And then closing up with GC. So start off, zoom in, and I'll zoom out. So on the upside, trend guide reversal. It's 9th week in a row. You have that combined with the naked VA and combo high volume node. Down lower, you actually end up with full ADR. So those moved down based upon the pull overnight there. GC at the moment, it did spike there a little bit, got up into and poked the 20-day EMA. So it did get up and get into that block there. There's also a 15-minute. Let's make sure this is still valid. Yeah. No, I don't think so. Anywho, at the top edge of that zone is weekly pivot, and then between there and the zone above that, you have your tier 1 daily cheats. But I'm not going to pay as much attention to those here today, given that they're by themselves. Would really watch more for this zone above with monthly pivot, daily trend guide reversal, swing anchor VWAP, combo high volume node. Gonna go back here to the downside. So double naked VAs in there. I thought there was NV POC, but it, yeah. No, there's not. I'm sorry. Yeah, I thought there was an NV POC when I first drew and typed up the notes, but there's not. But you have this kind of double swing A VWAP and daily anchor VWAP in here that has just been so key in holding up this stuff. So you've got that spot, obviously structure there. Lower is our trend guide zone along with our weekly trend guide, and we also have a naked VA in that spot there. And it was also last week's lows and the week before that's lows, so pretty interesting. Moving down more, you get to your 50-day EMA, your trend guide, tier 1 daily cheat. Sorry, excuse me, tier 1 end of week cheat, tier 2 daily cheat, and our full ADRs. And yes, we have the February 28th daily anchor go up right there with that spot. So really kind of a big zone here, the look zone if we do decide to come down here and grab this. Lower if we decide to keep coming in, you'd have your monthly trend guide, gap fill, and weekly full ADRs there. So that is it. I don't have anything else. It doesn't look like we have any questions today, as usual. So hopefully everybody has a great one, and we will catch y'all later. Appreciate it.